All right, guys. So I've been training for over 10 years now, going back since like 2014. And if I could go back in time and tell my younger self on how I should train and how I should do things, um, or what I can do differently, these are just some things that would save me a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of frustration as far as for just getting into fitness and getting into working out. So these are the 10 things that I would tell myself. All right. So first thing that I would tell myself is that consistency matters more than perfection. Perfection actually it doesn't exist. Is what you need to get into your head. You're never going to find the perfect workout, or you're never going to, find like the perfect way of doing things or the perfect way to build muscle. Everybody's different. And, what's more important is that you're consistent and that you're showing up every day, getting the basics down. You don't have to try to, you'll read a lot of stuff online or you'll watch a lot of videos and you'll try to like, find the perfect workout or try to look at what somebody else is doing. And myself, I wasted a lot of time doing that. Trying to, I would watch hundreds of videos on what's the perfect way to do this, and everybody does something differently. So what was the point of even watching those videos? What matters is being consistent and just going, either to the gym or working out, even if you want to work out, in your home. Just doing that, showing up every day, and practicing, making good habits and being consistent with your training is what matters, not necessarily finding the perfect workout. Okay, so the next thing that I would tell myself is that nutrition matters more than you think. What you put into your body is going to help fuel your workouts. I remember when I was younger, I used to, I was a pretty skinny kid. So I would always try to just go to McDonald's and order stuff off of the dollar menu to try to bulk up as much as I can. But what I was doing was I was just filling my body up with a bunch of junk. And really all it did was just make me bloated.
Yes, I would eat those types of foods because they were affordable, they were available. And once I started, doing some more research and putting the correct foods in my body, things, focusing on protein, focusing on, eating the right amount of calories, it definitely helped take my physique to the next level. And I've wrote about this on my blog of a lot of cheap and affordable foods that you can eat. Things like sardines, Greek yogurt, sweet potatoes, foods that are affordable, that are available, and they can, they're filled with, they're high in protein, low in fat, and also a lot of complex carbs as well, which can, not only give you the energy and the protein that you need, but to also be able to sustain your workouts for a longer period of time, and then help you out with your training so you can keep getting better as you move forward. What I would tell myself is that you need to progressively overload if you want to build muscle. So what that means is that every time when you go to the gym, you want to either try to lift a little bit more weight, or you want to try to do a few more reps than what you did the previous time. Sometimes you could get into the habit, and I did this often when I was younger, of just doing the same things over and over again, and then your body would get used to it. You would get comfortable with just lifting the same weights for the same amount. But after a certain point, once you've trained up enough, you're not going to be able to grow enough muscle. So you want to be able to progressively overload, even after just adding on 5 more pounds. That makes a world of difference when you're trying to build muscle. And then over time, that 5 pounds turns into 10, 15, 20 pounds more. And then when you look back at what you were lifting 6 months ago, this is another thing. You definitely want to be able to track what you're lifting. What you were lifting 6 months ago is to be a 90-day difference to what you're doing now. So you want to progressively overload. You want to continue to challenge yourself, challenge your muscles, and working on, becoming stronger over time. The next things that I would tell myself is don't compare yourself to other people. Like, I'm serious, guys. All these social media influencers that you see, all these, fitness models, like, first of all, 99% of them aren't natural, or they have physiques that are unattainable. So, you can try to, look at their workouts and try to copy some of their habits, but to think that you're going to look like them without, taking steroids, which are very bad for your health. I don't care what anybody says, never ever take steroids. Even if you're not, competing, it's not just for professional athletes to not take them. Like, nobody should take them unless, of course, you're prescribed by a doctor. But serious, like, don't compare yourself to other people. It's you versus you in the gym. All you have to do is compare yourself to yourself and how you looked from the day before, and keep working on that, on improving your own self and your own body. Don't try to look at other people and try to copy what they do. Health is is that recovery is a part of training. And what's recovery? That means sleeping on your butt all day. Like sometimes that's what your body needs to recover and to become stronger. When you're in the gym, you're not building muscle when you're in the gym. You're breaking your muscle fibers down and you build those muscle fibers back up when you're sleeping, when you're making sure that your eating is correct, when you're drinking enough water. Like the recovery aspect is a part of training. Don't try to, people try to do this all the time. They go to the gym and they try to go, 5, 10, 15 days in a row because they're so eager to try to, lose weight or to build muscle. But you're just going to burn yourself out. What you need to do is understand that your body needs rest. You're not going to be able to get stronger unless you're able to take a step back, relax for a little bit, sleep. Make sure you're getting 8, 9 hours of sleep, especially if you're on the younger side. Younger people need more sleep. Get your rest, allow your body a chance to recover, and go back into the gym when you're ready. Don't train when you're sore. Don't train when you're tired. Don't train when when your body's telling you that you're hurt. You need to rest, recover, and then when your body feels good, that's when you can come back into the gym, and then you can start to progress. Is master the basics first. Don't try to chase all of these, secret hacks that, watching all these videos that you see online of people doing all these, crazy tricks and stuff for trying to build muscle. Just focus on the simple things. I'm talking about push-ups, sit-ups, a bench press, squats, maybe deadlifting. But you don't need to do all these other fancy workout routines that you see people doing. Learn how to do a regular pull-up before you start trying to do muscle-ups, Just keep it simple, focus on the basics, which again, simple things like push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and also making sure you're eating protein, getting enough rest that we spoke about before. Focus on the basics first, and then once you've progressed up to a certain level, then you can start doing some of the more advanced lifts that you see some of these influencers do. But when you're just starting out, keep it simple, keep it basic, and you'll do yourself better in the long run. Now, the next thing that I would tell myself is that supplements aren't magic. In fact, I would probably stay away from all supplements except for 2, which I'll tell you in a moment. You'll see these things online about all these amino acids and block, chain reaction stuff, like all these different supplements and stuff. Like, you're not needed. You don't need them. 99% of them are garbage. You just focus on basic nutrition, making sure you're eating fruits and vegetables. And the only 2 supplements that you do need are creatine and protein. Everything else it's BS, guys. You don't need it. Don't focus on all that extra stuff. It's just influencers who are trying to sell you their supplements because they'll think that'll help you build more muscle. That's not true. What's gonna help you build muscle, like I said, is lifting heavy and sleeping and eating enough protein and drinking enough water. All these other supplements that say that you can either, burn fat faster or build muscle faster if you take these supplements, it's not true. It's garbage. Don't listen to them. I'm serious. That I would tell myself is that cardio won't kill your gains. Honestly, I think for like the first 3 years when I first started working out, I almost never did cardio because I was worried that doing cardio would make me lose weight. And again, like I was a very skinny kid growing up. So I was worried that if I did a lot of cardio, if I did a lot of running or a lot of walking, I would burn a lot of fat, but I would also burn through muscle as well as what I was worried about. But that's not the case. Cardio doesn't help you burn fat. What cardio does is that it strengthens your heart, and your heart is your most important muscle. You want to make sure that you're doing some type of cardio. It doesn't have to be every day, but you want to make sure that you're doing cardio, even just something as simple as walking, which I love walking. And you see it on the live streams that I do. Like, I love walking. I love doing boxing for cardio. I love jumping rope for cardio. It helps, build your heart rate up, which will help you when you do start lifting weights. Because your heart is stronger, you'll be able to regulate your blood a lot better, and it'll help you lift more in the long run. So cardio can actually be beneficial towards you lifting more weights. You just have to be very strategic about how you do your cardio. You don't need to be, running 10 miles every day, but doing something simple as walking or jogging, 1 or 2 miles a day, doing some jump rope. Swimming is also very great cardio as well. Simple things like that will help not only strengthen your heart, but then eventually strengthen your muscles as well in the long run. So definitely, you want to do some cardio. Next thing that I would tell myself is that you have to understand that the scale doesn't tell the whole story. You know, from day to day, your weight is always going to fluctuate either up or down for a variety of different factors. You know, things like water weight or sodium, or if you're bloated, you know, it could always go up by, you know, 1 or 2 pounds less or 1 or 2 pounds more. Another thing that you have to realize is that muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're trying to lose weight, but you're also trying to build muscle as well, you know, you may see that the scale is a little bit higher, but that may be muscle that you put on and not fat. So you have to go by other factors. Things like about how your clothes fit, you know, how do you look in the mirror? You know, someone who's, you know, let's just say if you're at, you know, 20% body fat, two people can, you know, weigh the same amount, can both be, say, you know, 160 pounds, but one could be at 20% body fat and one could be at 25% body fat, and they'll look completely different. So you can't just go by what it says on the scale. You have to look at other different factors, you know, like what's your body fat percentage, you know, how do your clothes fit, how do you look, you know, look at yourself in the mirror. And if you feel like you're in the right direction, if you feel like you're building muscle, if your pants feel a little bit looser, or if they feel a little bit tighter, that can give you a better indication of whether or not you're improving or not, depending on what your goals are. So don't go just based off of the scale. Last thing that I would tell myself is that fitness is a lifestyle, not some 30-day challenge. You know, when you're building the correct healthy habits, you know, when you're going to the gym consistently, when you're eating the right foods, you know, it spills over into other parts of your life. You know, when you have that discipline to go to the gym every day, it will help you build discipline in other areas of your life as well. You know, when you're doing things consistently, you want to do your body right, you want to do your mind right. You know, this is a lifestyle and a habit that you begin to build, and you start to feel differently about yourself and look at yourself differently. And, you know, have to understand that, you know, this isn't a race where there's a finish line. There is no finish line. You know, it becomes less about, you know, what you see in the outside world and more about how you feel about yourself and what you want to do to become the best version of yourself, and not worry so much about other people. Those are the 10 things that I would tell myself if I can go back and speak to my younger self about, you know, what to expect with working out for the last, you know, 10, 12 years. If you can go back and speak to your younger self, what would it be that you would do differently? Or if you're just getting started, you know, what it is that, do you have any questions or anything that you're not too sure about? You know, let me know, and then maybe I'll make a video about it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.